Good day everyone, so hope you're all doing really well. In today's video I want to clarify whether I'm a shill or a hater of Genshin Impact, and the answer is neither, because nuance is something that a lot of people don't seem to understand. But in their defense, I can understand it if someone is a new subscriber to my channel and they feel like, hey, I see a lot of cool casual content and some cool Spiral Abyss content, but what is this video yapping about how bad Genshin is? I don't like that. Or some other people might find that they enjoy the critical videos talking a bit about the frustrations of the game, but they don't like the fact that I keep on playing the game and making positive content on it. So this is the problem. Like, where is someone like myself supposed to sit? Well, I'll tell you where I sit. I sit right comfortably at a 6 out of 10 for Genshin Impact, as someone that has a well-defined tolerance and a capacity to enjoy the game and knows when to quit when things get a bit too stale. So what do I mean by this? Let's unpack the nuance here. Effectively, at any given point in time, for me, Genshin is a numerical value out of 10, if we can put it like that. So you can say that, hey, the game is a 6.5 out of 10. Ooh, here's a new shiny region. It's called Natlan. Hey, now suddenly the game's an 8 out of 10. There's some cool music, there's fresh content, there's nice stories. We've got different characters that are being highlighted in the meta because there's a new gimmick or a combat mechanic that brings all the characters up, and it encourages you to play a bit differently. Cool things. But sometimes the game gets stale, and we talk a bit about some of the issues that Hoyo refuses to address. So what you can really start understanding is that my 6 out of 10 fluctuates between an 8 out of 10 and sometimes even a 4 or a 3 out of 10. And very clearly this is reflected in my YouTube content, the amount of videos I put out. Heck, I mean, at the end of February, I took a 45-day break from Genshin Impact. I had the opportunity whilst I was overseas in Japan to play Genshin. I could easily have done it on mobile, but I refused, and it was a good thing to take a break. It's a good thing to understand that you've got a hobby, and sometimes taking a bit of a break, playing Withering Waves or doing something else is good. It really is. And this is something that people don't really seem to understand. Your mood on a game can fluctuate, and that's just a part of life. Yeah, some people might be short-fused in terms of their tolerance, so they can get to that 3 or a 2 out of 10 a lot quicker. They might not have the patience to keep up with Genshin Impact, and that is fine. That's just how we differ as individuals. So, for example, when it comes to me, I work like 8 to 9 hours a day, and when I get home, I want to sit down, turn my brain off, and just listen to a podcast on YouTube. And Genshin Impact being played passively in the background perfectly suits that need for me. There is a casual aspect of Genshin that I can easily integrate into my life that's got nothing to do with the lack of endgame or the lack of character stories or all of the things that I've complained about. You see, that's the thing. Genshin Impact does fulfill a certain need for me, whereas a game like Honkai Star Rail would not, because it's just a boring grind fest. A game, for instance, like Honkai Impact the Third is way too competitive in nature, so I can't really just sit back and relax. But with Genshin, I really get that casual side of it, and hence, I continue to play. But there are also a couple of other reasons why I continue to play Genshin Impact and why I continue to make content on it, and some of these will really take you by surprise because you haven't heard of this before. The first reason is to do with tax. So this is kind of in a nutshell where you claim certain living area, like living space in your apartment, home or flat, and you effectively deduct all of the expenses from tax in a certain proportion. So if you've got 100 square meters of floor space and your office space is 10 squared centimeters, you can effectively apportion, let's say, 1/10 of your cost and deduct that from tax, which is a way to do it. This differs from country and from tax regimes and so on, but effectively in my country, I do work from home, so I do actually claim office expenses from tax with regards to my rent and Wi-Fi and all of these things. And because I've got a separate computer to play Genshin Impact and it makes revenue, in addition to some of the other advertising revenue that I make, by the way, this is separate from like my main job, I can effectively allocate more floor space or squared centimeters to that tax deductible. So yeah, me playing Genshin Impact actually has a real world monetary value, and that tax deductible is not non-negligible when you talk about my level of income. You know, this is the person that can easily afford C6 R5 characters, so you can understand why there is an incentive there, despite the revenue itself not being that high. It's just got to do with thresholds and tolerances. In any case, the second reason why I keep on playing Genshin Impact is because my recommendations actually have influence and power, even if only for a couple of hundreds of people. And what I mean by this is that I've had positive comments saying, hey, I watched your videos, it really helped and it made me enjoy my time, and that is really good to hear. I've also had other people say, listen, I've quit Genshin Impact, but I'm keeping an eye on your channel, so when you say the game is a 9 out of 10, maybe I'll come back, but otherwise just keep up the good work, which is really interesting. And the other thing is, I just enjoy making this type of content, engaging with different people, as well as documenting my Genshin Impact journey. So this is quite fun for me, because by making content, hence, you know, like supporting Genshin, if you will, I'm also in effect like saving hardware, like storage space, and I'm putting up a diary of the ups and downs and my experience with Genshin, which is really good, because if someone goes back into the past, they can also use my YouTube channel as a time machine. So for instance, if someone says Kokomi only got good after Dendro, it's like, no, she didn't, and I've got all the YouTube videos and the biz runs to kind of prove that she was incredibly useful at that time for that type of content to clear the end game content, which is really satisfying. Like when you can debate people and have actual proof of it. There's also a level of community engagement there that the channel itself really backs up. But I wouldn't have had any of this. I wouldn't have had any like evidence to back up, let's say, some of my opinions and private discussions if I hadn't kept on playing and documenting my journey so actively on YouTube, which is something that I really enjoy. So the level of community engagement and just like impact that you have as a content creator, that in and of itself is another reason to play the game. Now, it might seem silly to you, but like we said earlier, this has all got to do with your tolerances and how quickly, you know, you can run out. So for me, these are aspects that keep me engaged. And yeah, so from that perspective, you can really start understanding some of the non-Genshin reasons why I would keep on playing. And obviously some Genshin specific reasons would include the fact that I do like my character Kokomi, I like some of the other characters, and I do enjoy playing the game for its story and so on, and I'm going to keep on being critical because I want to make Genshin a good game. I don't think it's a Mickey Mouse game, I don't think it's just a casual game with worse combat than Wuwa, like people like Tectone would say. I don't write the game off because there is depth, there is beauty, there's a reason why people like myself and Jamie like playing Genshin Impact, because the end game and the combat system has a certain level of depth, and once you master it, it is satisfying. That I can honestly say that. That's what I like about it. You might not agree, you might not find it satisfying, and hence, you know, your tolerance has already been breached and you've quit the game, and that's perfectly fine, but it's not so for me. But like my personality being what it is, I'm very straightforward. So when there are issues, I call it out, and hence why people might think of me as being a Hoyo hater, when in reality I'm just someone that tries to get the best deal for myself and for people that are potentially considering spending money on the game and might want to consider twice because of how the game works. At the end of the day, people, if I can give you an analogy, some people might understand the risks of, let's say, shark cage diving. So you go into the ocean, you go into a cage, and there are a bunch of sharks, and you are in the ocean above and around them, and you can call out the dangers. You can talk to people about, the risks associated with the oxygen tank breaking, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, despite there being risks and warnings, you still enjoy the activity, you can still do it responsibly, you can still have fun with it, and it's just how we all differ as people. And that's what I wanted to clarify. So, call me a shill, call me a hater, I really don't care. What I do care about is the nuance that you're going to bring in the comment section, and hopefully we can talk things out there if anyone is upset with me with regards to my channel. In any case, that's my position, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed listening to me, and thank you so much for watching. Cheers.